What's happening, everyone? Welcome to the Sportscast. It's me, Andy Grant. I've got Musky, our producer and contributor, here with us in the feathers. Big thanks to them once again. Bottom of Harris Drive on Auto Roads. They let us record here. Boss Boozer. On this weekend, you've got Musky on my eyes.
Right, so we've got Steph Hodge tonight. And then we've got the footy on Saturday, footy on Sunday, and we've got Tom Cartledge on Saturday as well.
There you go. If there's ever a point where you need to get your eyes tested, it's when you can't even read a board that's about 5 metres away. Right, Musk, my apologies first to Musk. I was late this morning. It's now currently 9:30. I rolled in at 3:30 in the morning. That's 6 hours ago.
Celebrating a draw, were you?
I wasn't celebrating the draw, but so my good mate Dave he's got hospitality at Goodison. Is it the Alex Young, is it?
I wouldn't have a clue.
No, yeah, neither have I. He's an Everton legend, apparently.
Yeah.
Somewhere he's obviously got a stand named after him. Yeah, he's got a kind of box in there, and he's just got a dog, and they couldn't leave the dog on their own type thing. So he gave me his missus' ticket, which was nice of him. So I ended up there, hospitality behind enemy lines. It's quite
Going
fun.
with a disguise on,
Well,
one of those fake noses and fake glasses and all that.
I was actually thinking, like, do I wear? I wasn't scared or nothing, but if you just with like the pod,
You couldn't
and
wear
stuff,
your full kit like you normally do in the car.
Yeah, full kit wanker. No, I was just a bit like, I couldn't be arsed having a fight tonight. Do you know what I mean? Last fucking fight I had was with the Taliban.
I think if you are gonna go to the Everton game and you're in the blue end, probably they're the best people to be by, I'd assume.
Yeah.
Like the hospitality people. You're probably not gonna get as many shouts.
But it's even going in there and getting out, isn't it?
Yeah.
So he said to me, meet at 5:30. So got off the taxi on County Road and walked up. And then it was when the fucking bus was coming in. So you couldn't even get to the stand anyway. So I was standing there like a lemon.
With your flair.
With me, watching everyone having a great time. And I'm not just saying this because I'm bitter, because everyone knows me. I am quite bitter. It wasn't like a Liverpool welcome. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, I'm getting a bit nitpicking a bit there. It wasn't like it was just like
different occasion though, innit? When you might have been to any of the Liverpool ones, it might not have been a league game on a Wednesday.
Musk been very biased, didn't he? Very, very fair and analytic.
I'm just saying that they haven't had big European nights like
no,
that.
And it wasn't. But I mean, it was nice to see, and they're all obviously, giving it the big one and all that. Anyway, that went on. Went in the grounds. Went in the hospitality. Had a lovely glass of champagne. Had a 3-course meal. My mates turned up. Had a nice chat with them, and straight away just got introduced as a Red. Everyone was all right though. Everyone was sound. I did get noticed before the ground though. A couple of people come up to me and was just like,
"What are you doing here?"
Yeah, you're in the wrong end, aren't you? One of them mentioned you actually. One of them was mates with you. Can't remember his name. But everyone was thankfully all right. Goes in. Obviously they score first. I think there must have been a challenge or something happened, and I kind of I was like, yeah. So I think people straight away knew I was a Red, but we're like all right type thing. Obviously we go 1-0 down. We'll come into the game in a second, but just my little story on it. Then we score. I didn't jump up celebrating, but I give it a
tense stuff kind of.
Yeah, come on, give it all that. Go in at half time, and then I didn't come back out, just because hospitality, my ale was there, just talking to me mate Dave, just putting the whale to rights, and it was just one of them, just sat there in the warm, watching on the telly. So I didn't actually watch the second half.
You went the game, but didn't go the game.
I watched the first half, but I didn't go back to my seat the second half. I just sat in there.
That's proper pro and butty behaviour, that, isn't it?
I know. It is, isn't it?
Fuck me.
But I'm glad, because I wouldn't have liked to have been there for that last minute. So it's 90 minutes has gone, and I thought I'll go for a piss before everyone comes back in. I'm standing there with me fucking cock in my hand, and you're just there, the place erupt. I thought, you fucking bastard.
Yeah.
Added to the fact, I had a little fourfold, and I was winning 1,300 quid. That just got fucking put down the bin as well. So I walked out like, you fucking bastard.
That's adding an insult to injury, that, like, innit?
Yeah, and obviously they're all going off their heads, and I'm like, it was a draw, you didn't win. But they're like, listen, they were just like, obviously fucking... Yeah, so anyway, went out of there, had a pint in there, and then went to Black Horse, fucking hell, I've not been in that booze for about 15 years. Full of blues, but again, everyone was alright and that type thing. And then went into town. Up top of Duke Street, there's a restaurant up there, like I can't think anyway, went up there. My mate Dave is one of those where you can't go home.
If he's out, he's out.
Oh my God, he's out till fucking next week type thing. He's one of them. So he ends up out, went into this, I can't even remember where it was, but anyway, goes into this bar, and I went to go to the bog, and as I walked down, it was one of those, I can't think of the bar's name, but anyway, I walked down, and I seen 3 fellas, and they'd snuck themselves in the corner, and it was only Sammy Lee, Ronald Koeman, and I'm assuming his agent or someone like that.
Top Reds.
And I half know Sammy Lee a little bit. I went, alright, Sammy, went, alright, lad. And you could tell he knew me, but he couldn't remember. I was like, and he was like, you're mates with Jay, aren't you, Bootle, and the leg and all that. And I was like, yeah. Anyway, chatting to him, and then obviously Ronald Koeman was fucking sitting there. So I sat down with them. I forgot I needed a piss and just fucking gigged on with them. And just sat with them for about half an hour. And then all the lads followed, and then fucking we all done fucking Koeman's head in. But what was really interesting is I spoke to Ronald Koeman and because I'm dead fascinated when I speak to footballers about this. So obviously I went in and done a motivational talk to the England team, didn't I? And I'm always wondering, did they actually give a fuck? Like, are they even asked? Do you know
Does
what
it
I mean?
make a difference?
Yeah, does it make a difference? So I asked Ronald Koeman, I said, if you were a manager, would you have kind of ever got a speaker in? And what he said was he's actually had Michael van Gerwen, the darts player, come in and speak to the Dutch lads. But he said that was more because a lot of them like playing darts as well. So it was a bit more of a... So he said it's good for them because he said a lot of them, I just think that they're so like their lives, as we all know, are just so kind of out of touch. He said that it is good to get them in and speak. So he was kind of keen for it. He was like, yeah, no, I think it's a good idea. And maybe he was just being nice, I don't know. But he's had Michael van Gerwen come in and speak. So anyway, yeah, spoke to Koeman. I told him David Unsworth story.
What's that one?
About when I told you, and I told Sammy Lee, and everyone was just like, fuck off, that's not true. I said, there is. One when I got asked to go and do a talk for... So bearing in mind, on my CV, I've done motivational talks for Liverpool, Man City, England, and someone from Everton asked me to come in and do a talk. I went in and pitched to them with my laptop, my presentation, and as I'm going through it, Unsworth goes, you'll have to delete that slide with me with a Liverpool top. When I'm in Afghanistan, there's a Liverpool flag, and he goes, the lads won't like that. And I said, it's not about football, it's about like overcoming adversity and life's challenges and all that. And he said, okay. I got to the You'll Never Walk story, which normally makes people crack a smile, at least. He didn't say a fucking word.
I actually didn't know that. I've never heard that one.
Oh, it gets better. Gets to the end, I'm not being big-headed, but it's the only presentation I've ever pitched for, and I've not got the gig. So they didn't ask me to come in, right? Months later, I'm in the Titanic Hotel, and I think I won like Pride of Merseyside, or I won some award, and I've had a couple of pints in me, bit of Dutch courage, and I go and speak to Unsworth, and I said, how come you never got me in that time, to do a talk? And he said, oh, you don't have the right value. Your values and ours don't quite align. I don't think you were right for the lads. I went, sound okay. So my like overcoming adversity and hopefully positive outlook on life wasn't quite what Everton were looking for back when Unsworth was in charge of the 21s. Make of that what you will. So anyway, told them that me bitter story. They were just laughing.
I mean, Koeman's got the whole tree story as well, hasn't he? So,
well, I didn't actually bring that up. I wanted
but
to, but I didn't realise he's fucking manager of Holland, didn't he?
Yeah.
So yeah, had a pint with them. Sammy Lee was in good form. He's a nice fella. Although he's not, I think, has he? The Reds think of him the same as like Sam, because he's followed obviously Allardyce round, hasn't he, with Everton and stuff.
Yeah, he's been on the wrong side of the dugout, hasn't he, a few times. Like,
I put a photo on my Instagram and someone was like, the blue nose cunt. But
I think that's going to happen if anyone crosses over those lines, innit? Like, if Everton players have done it and gone to the Liverpool side or vice versa, it does taint the...
I still like him, nice fella. Yeah, had a pint with him and then fucking rolled in at 3:30. So apologies if I look worse for wear, Musk. I'm sorry for my breath. I'm sorry if I'm slurring my words. I still feel pissed. So yeah, got in at 3:30, and then randomly woke up at 9:10 and was like, shit.
Just in time.
So Musk come down here, set up, and got the show going. So thank you very much, mate, and my apologies. That was my night. What did you do? Where did you watch it?
Just an ours, mate. Again, just another game on it. On what we've got, a big 5 games coming up. So it was the first of like this big 5 that everyone's talking about. Probably didn't get off to those first 5 and the best of starts, because we probably wanted one draw within all of those games, and you don't really want it to be the
when
first
you say
one.
these 5, what, like the next 5?
So the next 2 weeks we've got
Wolves, Villa, City,
and then Everton's that one, and then we've got the final as well. Oh no, the final's in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, so the next few games are Wolves, Villa, City, Newcastle, Southampton, Newcastle, Everton. That takes up to April. So yeah, March is obviously end of Feb. March is big. Yeah, so on to the game then. I'd obviously saw. By the way, did you know at Goodison they don't replay the opposition's goals? I thought that was quite funny.
Do you know what? I have heard something about that. But I don't reckon I would if it was the other way around.
I know, suppose.
Like, I don't know if any other grounds do that. Obviously, we don't even have a screen ourselves, like, but I don't reckon we would. And I know sometimes the screen shows some contentious stuff as well, which not just not at Everton, but I know where you're watching a replay at home and you hear the crowd go, ooh, like when something's been replayed and shouldn't have and all that. But yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Like,
so you will have seen it more than me. It just seemed like just one pass, was it a long ball up, and he got a goal. It was just
for the first goal. Yeah. So it started out with they got a free kick, which I think Ndiaye did well for. He pulled the wall over Oliver's eyes. It wasn't a foul by, I think it was McAllister, and Gravenberch I think came like across him, but he kind of like threw himself in a direction that if he did get it, he would go in like in that direction. There wasn't a touch on it, but then it was just like everyone was set up, and Brantwaite just goes, you know what, fuck it, there's a gap there. Beto's on a little bit of a curved run. He's going to break the line. Let's do it. On from the commentary, they were saying like it looks like that's a planned thing. Like while everyone's setting up, as long as the person with the ball and one other person are alert to the situation and know where that gap is. It was, wouldn't say long ball, it was a through ball, but we were just asleep.
Yeah, Kanate just got turned, and that was it, he was off.
Yeah, and obviously he then can't put a challenge in, because then you're getting sent off very early on in the game. I think Beto takes the chance really well, I don't know if Beto earlier on the season would have taken that chance.
I was going to say that,
I think a little bit of confidence has helped that, because he just composed himself, let the ball get across him a little tiny bit more, just so that he could like open himself up and slot it. Whereas maybe 2 months ago, he just puts his left foot through it or tries to go round the keeper or whatever. He just seemed quite composed.
I'd go one further. I don't even think he makes that run.
Maybe not. Ago. Yeah.
It's like they've just got a complete new lease of life, haven't they? And they've just got an eye for goal all of a sudden, which again they never had a few months ago. So you've got to say fair play to Moyes, haven't you? He's definitely, done something to them, because I don't think. Well, they just weren't scoring at all, was they? So to be that quick thinking and go quick free kick, get the ball in and goal.
Yeah.
It's
Gary was saying a few weeks ago, like the best thing for Everton to do is to just get it as far forward as possible, as quickly as possible, because there's no point in having the possession and then not doing anything with it anyway, because they don't get they're not in the high percentage teams anyway. They don't mind not having the ball, and Moyes is a good example of that. He literally said in his post match yesterday, he said one thing that wasn't happening is he didn't say before I got it, he just said earlier on in the season, because obviously he didn't want to
say that.
He just said earlier on in the season we weren't getting in front of goal enough, and you can't score if you're not in front of goal. And we've seen the last good few games now that it's a case of get it from back to front as quickly as we can, especially if you're catching the back line a little bit cold. And that's exactly what he did for that first goal.
Yeah, I mean, they only had the lead for 5 minutes. It felt a lot longer, but when I checked, it was only 5 minutes. And then McAllister pops up. How tall is he? He's not the tallest, is he? But he seems to fucking...
He'll be like, 5'10" or something like that. which
I don't even think he's
isn't
that
all
tall,
for a footy player. Like,
no.
Maybe a little bit less. Obviously, I'm not the right person to be
I'm
speaking to you about
5'10",
how tall people are.
I think he's, I think he's smaller than me, but he gets up great.
I think it's the fact that if you look at the whole move itself, they try and play it out. He intercepts it.
Yeah.
He passes it out. He gets it back, and rather than trying to put it in himself, it's like, right, we'll recycle it. We'll get it back out to Salah, and by the time it's back out to Salah, he's made around. So like,
it's a great run he's made.
There's so much that he was part of from like the inception of that whole bit of play, and then he rounded it off well.
It's funny that one of the lads, someone behind me was like slagging McAllister off, saying he's shite, and I was like, you messing? He's shite. He's fucking brilliant, isn't he?
I thought he was one of our better players yesterday.
I just think he's just solid week in, week out, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? And I said, he has won a World Cup, It's like the lad behind me. He said, but no, I thought, he was one of our better players. Took the goal really well. And yeah, with my subdued celebration, I was just kind of happy to get it in at half time, 1-1. One thing I will say, which would be interesting to hear your views on it, because I haven't actually spoke to you about the game until now, is the referee, because I went in at half time and all everyone was doing was moaning about the referee.
From both sides.
So you're like, hang on, the ref's got to be... it's kind of... Not everyone can be right moaning at him. And what was really interesting for me sitting with in the Everton end was how just stupid fans are. And I don't mean Everton fans, I mean fans in general.
You just got your own bias, haven't you?
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Because it was so funny. I'm sitting there watching the game and I'm going, that's a foul. And everyone around me is going, play on.
Yeah.
And then a couple of minutes later, everyone's shouting play on. I'm going, it's a fucking foul. And it is hilarious just to know how fans' bias can just be like, the referee is shite. And he can't be shite for everything. He's either got to be...
He can be inconsistent and that makes him shite. So he can be given things for Liverpool that go against Everton or vice versa. But I always think if both sets of fans think the ref is shit, the ref must have been shit.
Fair one, yeah, okay.
So like, they will have said like, they would have said Conor Bradley should have been sent off because of the fouls that he gave after he got his yellow. Then obviously we then switch him out in good time so that nothing else would have happened to him. But then on the flip side, we could say, well, Guy should have been sent off before the half, because the same thing that he got booked for in the first place, he then did again on Gakpo a few minutes later. So if the ref was being consistent, you'd send them off. But the ref's probably thinking, it's a derby. Yeah. I don't want to be, brandishing a red card for two silly yellows, if that's what you want to call them. And he's trying to keep people on the pitch. But because of that, I just think he was inconsistent and he didn't know when to give a card, when to not give a card. He gave a foul against Robertson for a push, but then literally like a few minutes later, I think Lindstrom pushed someone down the same end but close to the Everton goal. Nothing got given. Even just little things like that, fans can be aggrieved with.
He seemed to let a lot go. I thought in that first half, we go into half time, I think Everton have got 3 yellow cards, Liverpool have got 2. There seemed to be a lot that he let. I thought, again, I've only watched it in real time, I've not watched any replays. I wasn't that aggrieved by much of it in the first half. He seemed to let a lot go, and then it got to about half an hour, and then he started pulling out the yellow card. I think it might have been, I don't know what the... I see when the first yellow card was brandished. Yeah, 27 minutes, so yeah, wasn't far off. So I thought first half an hour he was just letting everything go. And then from the 27th minute until the 43rd, he booked 5 players. Yeah, so I thought he was letting a lot go, but at half time, both sets of fans seemed to feel aggrieved. Which, yeah, maybe what you say is right. Maybe it might have been shite. Go in at half time, 1-1. And then Salah obviously pops up. I'm watching it indoors at this point, jumped on me mate. Thankfully I could celebrate a bit more because I was inside. And then I thought we'd like... I thought, again, I'm half pissed at this point watching it, but I thought it was just a fucking... I was just happy to see it out. Before the game, I was thinking a draw. I'd be happy with a draw because we've spoke about it on the show for weeks now. I think everyone was thinking that this game in hand was a guaranteed 3 points, weren't they?
Yeah.
And the fact that we've got to go to Everton, last game at Goodison, last game under the lights at Goodison, all of that added to it. I was thinking I'd take a draw all day. When we do get the goal from Salah, again, what a player he is, you know, a goal and another assist.
In a relatively quiet game for him.
Insane, yeah. Because I don't think he done much at all, did he? Pops up with 2.
Well, I know that for the fact that I had Michalenko to give a couple of fouls away, and again, back-to-back derbies, Michalenko didn't even concede a foul. Because, not saying he kept Salah quiet, because he's got a goal and assist, but for the majority of the game, Salah couldn't really impose himself that much, and it's not because of just Everton's left back, it'll be how they've set up and not allowing him to get as much of the ball and all that, but I don't think we threatened enough to warrant winning. Like, at 2-1, I think sound, see the game out, happy with the 3 points. But on like the reflection of the whole game, I don't think either keeper was like in amazing form, and they stopped all kinds. I don't think either team threatened the goal a lot. I think there was a lot of play in the park and not actually in front of goal. So a draw probably is the right result. It's just the manner in which they got the draw was disgusting for us. Heartbreakingly.
Well, I'm just looking now. I don't know whether there was much moaning in your household when you're watching it, but 5 minutes of stoppage time was awarded, and the goal goes in the 98th minute. I'd have to watch it back, but
well, that's the thing about us talking about it. Literally 12 hours after it's happened, we haven't been able to have a little look at. Like,
I've not seen any of the post-match reaction, anything. I'm just going on what felt like last night, and it seemed like a long time. After what should have been the 90 minutes. 5 minutes added time. The goal goes in the 98th minute.
The 2 lads were down, so was it Brandwaite and Alcaraz? They kind of bumped into each other. So they were down for a couple of minutes, but again, I don't know if it was enough minutes to then
think it was fair, then, do you think?
See it over. I mean, do you want to sit there with a stopwatch and go over it?
No.
It probably was over, but it's always going to be a little bit over, a little bit under. When there's no, like, if it's a 3 minute stoppage time and nothing really happens within that 3 minutes, the ref will blow exactly on that 3 minute mark. But if they're down for a couple of minutes, it's a 5 minute one, and there's a couple of times where there could have been free kicks, whatever. It might have been over, but it was just like the fact that we kicked off and within 3 or 4 seconds he blew up. That's how close it was to the end of the game.
Yeah. Listen, give them the due. What a goal that was.
The finish itself was unreal. I think it was a bit of a silly goal for us to give away. So I think Young had it on the right-hand side maybe and knocked it across the field. And no Liverpool player wants to go and attack it.
No.
It was like they were worried to get out of position that something's going to happen. But it's like, well, Beto's just ran from our centre halves there to go and win that ball at our like right back, right mid position, and then the ball still being able to come across again. Could have been a foul on Konate, but I don't think the clear and obvious thing would go in our favour, because some refs will give it a foul. It wasn't as blatant enough to be. That's definitely going to cancel out such a big goal on a big occasion.
It would have took, I think, a lot for them to cancel that.
It would have had to be like a proper shove like that, or an handball, or obviously they checked for offside, which wasn't offside. But yeah, I think obviously we in the back of our minds we're going, hey, that could be a foul there. But as you're saying, when you've got your bias cap on and all that kind of stuff, you want the ref to do whatever's in your favour. But we've seen Konate lose out a couple of them over the last few seasons where he's expecting to win something and he just gets a bit of a nudge and he gets out of position a little bit. But again, the ball bounces across our box there. Yeah. You got Shimikas going towards the ball, you got Jones going towards the ball, leaves Tarkowski alone on his own. Should Shimikas have gone to Tarkowski and left Jones to try and get the first ball, but at least he's there for the second ball. There's loads of little things, but you can't deny it's a fucking good finish. Like,
it's a finish that he's never doing ever again.
Well, he said in his post-match, he went, I could do that in Saining like 100 times and not score once.
At least he's honest.
Jagielka said the exact same thing when he scored his, and they had a little bit of a thing of, you know, which one's going to go down as folklore. But then I've seen someone say, well, let's remember, both of those goals, as good as they were, they only secured a point per goal. Yeah,
that's obviously, I think, what it's getting lost on people. Like, it wasn't a winner. it just stopped us from winning. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it was a shit way to end the game as a fan. But
because you were inside, did you see the
I watched I was seeing
did you see the Doucoure and
obviously
Jones stuff?
Not with my own eyes, only on telly. So what I have seen is Doucoure straight away just makes a beeline for Liverpool fans. Like, it reminded me a bit kind of Gary Neville.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what he says on it, because I think a lot of pundits now have got short memories. I think, you know, when they're judging.
Well, to be fair, mate, Rio Ferdinand was chatting a load of shit, to be honest, last night. But loads of the things that he kept saying was like, "Oh, that's embarrassing for a man to be doing that, for a player to be doing this." And I was like, "Mate, have you seen some of the players you've played with? Maybe not necessarily you as a player, being like, you know, a person of the dark arts. I'm assuming that he still will have been, but some of the players he's played with, and it's like, you'd call that winning at all costs. But when it's somebody that doesn't fit your bias of he basically could have been sitting there with a fucking Everton kit on. Yeah. It was like, no, you can't be doing that. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing for somebody to be doing that. And it's like, come on, mate.
You just forget, don't you, that looking they were players once and all that. But yeah, it was like proper rubbing it in.
That's fans. You know what though?
And by the way,
it's a proper derby finish though. Like,
yeah,
players getting in amongst it, like Jones sticking up for like the Liverpool end, and all the other players gathering around. And again, because the result didn't go our way, if the result had gone our way and there was a little bit of that, we'd be fucking loving that even more.
Yeah, and you know what? As a neutral, everything you want the derby to be, you know, full of, you know, talking points and you know, contentious decisions and a bit of bite in it. It had all of that, didn't it? So it was great in that sense. And again, as a blue, you made up to Corey's, ran over and give it to Liverpool fans. And as a Liverpool fan, you made up Jones, just stuck up for the Liverpool fans, aren't you? So it was a tasty finish in that sense. But yeah, Doucoure's obviously got his eye straight away on Liverpool fans, runs over, and Jones, fair play, sticks up for Liverpool fans. Everyone then gets involved. I think Jones is shown a red, Doucoure's shown a red. Arne Slot comes on, he's shown a red. His assistant's shown a red.
Yeah.
Which meant they both couldn't do the post-match interview. Premier League rule is if you get sent off, you can't do it. So because the manager and the assistant got sent off, there was no one from Liverpool to do the...
No, like, staff representative. Obviously, Van Dijk got interviewed as the captain, but there was no, like, senior member of staff in terms of like, the coaching staff or anything.
Which is interesting. I don't know whether...
And about Johnny Heitinga wants to come out and start...
Well, I don't know whether it was him who got... It won't have been
him. No, Heitinga's going to be, like, leading the team on the weekend.
For Wolves?
I think it's two game ban, I think, at the moment.
Well, I was going to ask, if it's a straight red for a player, it's a 3 game ban, isn't it?
I think it's 2 for slots.
Really?
But what's weird is, like, last time he had a suspension, I think something came out, like, in all of his managerial career, like when he was, like, in Holland and stuff like that, he'd never been shown a yellow.
Really?
And then it's like, as soon as he's in England, and the refs are just like, what, you saying something negative about me? There we go, fuck off.
Well, what I did see, it reminded me, and again, I'll have to look at it again, it was a little bit like the Conte-Tuchel thing, you know, where he shakes hands with him. And so what I saw, he goes over to the ref, shakes his hand.
But then keeps holding a little bit
it's
too
one
long.
of them, and he's like, and he's looking at him, and then it's like the ref tries to turn away, and he's
I don't think he didn't seem to be in front of him for long enough to say something to get that. So I don't know.
But he's done something.
Because he was fuming after the goal, wasn't he? So he will have said something to like the fourth official or whatever, and then that's probably being fed into Oliver's ear. And then as they've been talking, Oliver's like, you know what? Here we go.
It doesn't have to be a long moan though. It's like he's grabbed his hand and went, "You cheating cunt!" Yeah, you cheating cunt, and like really squeezed his hand. And the ref just went, "Don't fucking speak to me like that." Straight away red, and he's kind of went as if like, "Why have you just?" But yeah, it'd be interesting to hear what he's got to say at some point when we do hear from him. But
I reckon by that point he'll just say, "Well, that was ages ago."
Yeah, he's calmed down now, hasn't he?
He's a person who he doesn't want to. Besides the Forest game that he brings up all the time, he doesn't want to be thinking too much about games that have gone that we've got no influence on. It's like let's just move on.
And on that point, I think it's really interesting. I think I think the whole season we've almost been a bit like, yeah, Liverpool are playing great, top of the league, top of the Champions League, we're flying. we've never actually had a bit of adversity where you're like, well, not adversity. We've never actually had a kind of a prolonged shit patch where you kind of like, how's the manager going to react type thing. We've always bounced straight back, haven't we, with a win or got ourselves back on track. I think it'd be interesting to know a bit of controversy, you know, a red card, a bit of drama, how he will react. I think we haven't really seen him come under the...
He seems to be quite a calm head, doesn't he? And
I think he got asked to describe himself in 3 words, and one of the words he said was calm.
Yeah.
So...
And I think that shows on the pitch as well. Like, a lot of the times when you're watching the Liverpool team play under Slot, it's a calm approach. It's a measured approach.
Yeah.
It's, if we're not knocking on the door, we'll find a way to knock on the door a little bit later, rather than just like, as we've been used to the last few years, if you're not knocking on the door, you're just going to bulldoze through it kind of thing.
It's definitely more like Guardiola than it is Klopp, I think, this season.
It's a lot more pragmatic. It's more thought out. Everyone knows what they should be doing in and out of possession, and that's why we're not conceding anywhere near as much as we have been in the past. I know we just conceded 2 last night, like, but on the whole of the season, defensively we've been quite solid.
Yeah, but I think now, given the manner of that result, thankfully it's Wolves at home on Sunday, which an easy-ish game, you'd think. It's the right way. It's a great game to kind of bounce back to, isn't it? Type thing after that. It'd be interesting to see how it is. Just before we move on to Wolves, I haven't actually got I've literally spoke about this last night, so I don't know. Could be chatting shit when I'm about to say this, but is it crazy to say that? By the way, no one come at me straight away when I say this. I'm not saying Salah is as good as Messi. What I'm asking is Salah having a Messi season?
I think in terms of stats, then it's not, obviously, what was it? Messi got 90 one season or something like that, goal contributions or something.
No, I think that was in a calendar year.
Was that a calendar year, was it? Yeah. So Salah's on 46 in 35 games this year, which that's just fucking silly numbers.
Yeah, I'm trying to... Yeah, so just a dead quick look, I think his goals and assists, 61. That was in the 2014-15 season. So in 38 matches, he had 61 goals and assists. That was Messi's greatest ever season, from having a quick look at this. Started 37 games, scored 43 goals, and assisted 18 times.
Is that just in the league?
He hit the woodwork 12 times as well. What a fucking mad shout. Yeah, it just looks to be the league, this. 61 goals and assists just in the league. That's mad, innit? Now, I'm not saying Salah's as good as Messi, obviously, but I think he's having a one-off Messi season.
What he'll never be able to do again?
Well, it's a mad one, innit? Because he's...
This time last year, we wouldn't have said he would have done these numbers this year.
Yeah. I'm not saying he's like... When I say a one-off season, he's having a one-off Messi season, is my point. He's obviously scored, 20 goals for the last 6-7 years. He's obviously unbelievable. He's setting his own records week in, week out. But I don't think it's crazy to say he's having a Messi season.
Well, rather than label it as a player, I think he's having a Ballon d'Or season where
that's probably a better shout.
He should be not even just in the conversation, but he should be, at the moment, the way he's playing, he should be the only name in the conversation.
Yeah.
Because no one's doing the numbers that he's doing. The player that everyone was moaning about that didn't win it last year, he's nowhere near what Salah's doing this year. So I reckon if we think about like an one-off award kind of thing for the season, I don't think any player at the moment is near Salah for that kind of recognition.
No. Yeah, rather than saying it's a Messi season, yeah, it's a Ballon d'Or season, I think it's just insane, isn't it? Like, his numbers are insane. Like you said, a quiet-ish game for him, and yet he still pops up with a goal and assist. It's incredible what he's doing.
And I think, unfortunately for him, if Liverpool, obviously we expect Liverpool to win, hopefully at least the league, got League Cup final in a few weeks, and then maybe even the Champions League. But it does seem to be based on what your team wins as well.
You've got to win something as well, haven't you, really?
Yeah. So you've got to have kind of led your team, not necessarily as the captain, but led your team to one or two big trophies. And I think that's where maybe Rodri might have nicked it last year.
Yeah, fair one. What else was I going to say then on Liverpool a second? Just a dead quick one on, he said they're winning a trophy. I saw Gareth Roberts, he's had him on the pod. I seen a reel from him, it was quite funny. He was talking about the fallout after the Plymouth game. And he mentioned...
The one show, that bit?
Yeah, I saw that bit. But he said that one of the commentators said, I wonder if Arne Slot will look back at this... If Liverpool win the treble, will Arne Slot look back and think, we've missed out on... It was a good chance to do the quadruple. And Gareth Roberts goes, I can assure you now, if Liverpool do the treble, Arne Slot will not be thinking about an away game at fucking Plymouth.
Yeah.
He'll be fucking bladdered with the fucking rest of us. And I just thought, yeah.
And not only that though, if Liverpool were to win like 3 of the trophies that they're still in, it could be because of that though.
Exactly.
And then he's like, I made up a sacrifice that game. Now, cause I know we didn't win in the derby, but if you win the derby, you go, well, there's 3 points that you've picked up because you sacrificed that. Yeah. But also, it's allowed certain players to rest, and we probably might not even see the kind of fruits of that until a couple of weeks down the line, when you go, do you know what? Arsenal and City have got more injuries again. Liverpool are still looking fairly fresh. We might not be performing week in, week out, but it's that availability. Yeah. So the fact
you don't know whether they all could have got injured or what. You just don't know, do you?
It's not. He thought at that time this team should beat Plymouth, and that team should have beat Plymouth. Like man for man, you'd expect that Liverpool starting 11 to beat that Plymouth starting 11, and they didn't. So you go, right, sound, that didn't work, but at least near enough every single player that I've got on my squad list, besides Gomez now, is available. And sometimes, that's what one of the commentators said about Tarkowski yesterday. He was like, sometimes the best ability is availability. Yeah. Which, that's what we've got at the moment, and it's because of games like that, where the manager's gone, I'm going to rest a good chunk of my squad because we're absolutely chocker for the next 4 or 5 weeks.
I mean, we were out for it, weren't we? I wasn't that fucking fussed, was you? Well, I was with you. Like, none of us were that bothered, were we? Really?
To be fair, mate, I was hanging for the first half.
Yeah, you've been out the night before. No, I don't think, and speaking to people and seeing social media, any proper Liverpool fan, I don't think's that bothered that we went out to the FA Cup. I don't think anyway.
Because you've got to compare it to other games that you could potentially lose, and you go, I'd rather lose that one than that one, or I'd rather lose that one than drop points there, or whatever.
And listen, as fans, as we've known over the years, you know, how many times we beat down to Wembley? I couldn't say, you know, on the top of my head, when I think, listen, because if we're gonna really be honest with each other, and be honest with ourselves, football is about enjoying yourself. All right, obviously everyone wants to win trophies, obviously, but when it's all said and done, it's about creating memories with your mates and having a great time. Like, that's essentially, it's a hobby, what we all do. We all go to the match to have fun, and whether we go to Wembley and we win the League Cup or the FA Cup, you know, when it's all said and done, I won't sit here in 10 years' time and go, I remember when we won, was it the League or the FA Cup? Which one was that? All I remember is that trip down to Wembley with all the lads, the stories that get made, you know, the stories that are told, the memories that are made. That's the bit that you'll remember. I will not remember in 10 years' time whether it was the League or the FA Cup. All I remember was, I remember when Newcastle Wembley, it was fucking great, that one. Do you know what I mean? So, listen, he's given us a trip to Wembley, great. I'm not fucking that bothered about the FA Cup, or whether it's the FA Cup, the League Cup. He's got us to a cup final. We're top of the league, still in the Champions League, and it's the middle of February with only, quarter of the season left.
Yeah, and just to kind of circle back on what you were saying about Gareth Roberts on his podcast, people saying about like slots and just managers in general not respecting the FA Cup and all that kind of stuff. And then he went, how can we respect the FA Cup when you're doing the 5th round draw on the fucking one show? Like, how is it not at the end or the beginning of the last game coverage? Like, It always has been.
He's very good, and he's very, obviously the overlap have picked him up and he's on that. He's a good lad anyway, but he's quite funny how he talks and he explains things, and he's so right, isn't he? If you want to kind of respect it, that would be the time to do it, wouldn't it? You know, at the end of Plymouth have just done this giant killing. Why not do it at the end of the game? Everyone's buzzing, and imagine if they've done it at the end of that game and they go, right, Plymouth, you know, you've just knocked out Liverpool. Next up, you've got a trip to Man City. That would have been great drama, that, wouldn't it? But like Gareth said, they decided to put it on the one show, which I think that says it all, doesn't
it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, we just mentioned it then. Yeah, so great result, won it against Spurs. I think that whether you like it or not, Spurs got the headlines, really, didn't they? I think for being that bad, rather than it was Liverpool winning. I think everyone just expected Liverpool to win. I think the manner of the defeat for Spurs, everyone was just looking at Postecoglou thinking, you know, how long will he be in a job for? After obviously we absolutely battered them, and I don't think Liverpool got the credit they deserve, really. Cause
I thought it was a really good performance.
Yeah, same.
And I think because Spurs was so bad, it was like, well, that's why Liverpool won 4-0. But I think Liverpool played probably one of their better games of the season.
Yeah, I thought so too, and I thought it was a bit unfair that they didn't get a few more plaudits, because it was just all about. And I think he's brought it on himself by doing this whole, I always win a trophy in my second season, mate. Like, lad, you've just fucking built a bod for your own back there, haven't you? And I think all eyes now for him are on that Europa Conference, aren't they?
Yeah.
Or was it the Europa League or Conference?
I think the journalists are fed up with him as well, so they're kind of made up when they can write something negative about him now. Because of like the post-match stuff and the press conference stuff, and everyone was saying, I'd love to go for a pint with him and all that. It's like, yeah, that's when he's first started the job. That's when he's looking fresh and feeling good and all that.
Yeah.
But halfway down his second season, and they're sitting near the bottom of the table. It's weird that you don't want to go for a pint with him now, because he's an absolute blur.
I wouldn't go as that far. I still don't mind him.
Nah.
You're not having him.
But I think people will have said the same stuff about Klopp.
Yeah.
So like, when things aren't going his way, he can be a tit and all that kind of stuff.
Gary would say that.
Yeah.
Gary would say, it reminds me of Klopp type thing. I know what you mean. He started off very charismatic, didn't he? And it's suddenly just gone downhill. And I don't mind him. I'd still go for a pint with him.
It's mad though, 'cause like at the end of our game yesterday, they were talking about like Everton's points tally and all this kind of stuff. And it's mad to say, like, what we're relegated, threatened Everton a few weeks ago are now next to Tottenham.
Yeah.
And Tottenham, in the like fans' point of view, management point of view, board point of view, they should be Champions League, Europa League, top 6 team.
Yeah.
And they're knocking around now with Everton, who were threatening relegation about 6 weeks ago or whatever.
Yeah. So on that anyway, we got the job done, which booked ourselves into the final, 16th of March. Happy days, yeah. Like I said before, great trip to Wembley, can't wait.
Brings the Villa game forward to next week, which then means that at one point we'll be the team that have had more games than everybody else.
Oh, really?
So again, that Villa game is massive, because if you don't win that, then that gap gets smaller next time Arsenal are playing. So Arsenal will be playing on the Saturday or the Sunday that weekend, on the 15th, 16th. Is it Arsenal Chelsea on the Sunday? Maybe.
Is it?
They might be the early kick-off on the Sunday. It said TBD on the fixtures a couple of days ago. I don't know whether that was because, you know, they didn't know what the
TBD,
like to be determined or something like that.
Declared determined, isn't it? TBA announced?
No, it was on the Google one. The Google one's terrible anyway. But I was kind of seeing which games would be on before our game, so that we could have like a pre-match pint or whatever and watch, which I think might be Arsenal Chelsea. Yeah,
so the next few games, obviously Wolves 2:00 Sunday, then it looks like a midweek game, Villa 7:30, and then it's City 4:30 on the Sunday. So next Sunday, well,
it's a big week for City next week, to be fair. Like,
obviously got Real Madrid, haven't they, as well? In that, have they?
Yeah. They've got Real Madrid the same midweek as our Villa game, because we were meant to be going into the City game fresh, but now we've got that Villa game that's been brought forward. That Slot's potentially going to have to figure out how he's going to manage these next 3 games.
Do you know what? I start getting excited when I look at my Flash Scores app, and I look at the fixtures, and you don't have to scroll that far down, and it's over. It's like you're almost counting down the games. Just a random one, just on a personal for me. Not that anyone could give me the answer for this. I'm just hoping that you'll try and give your, I'm hoping you'll make me feel better when I say this. At the moment, we play Spurs on the 26th of April, which is the 5th to last game. There's a chance that we potentially could win the league on that game. And at the moment, it's 3 o'clock on a Saturday. My sister's getting married that day.
That won't be that. That game will not be on that day at that time.
That's what I was hoping you'd say.
Not a chance.
You reckon?
Yeah. They're not having Liverpool Spurs at 3 o'clock, blackout one. It's going to be either an early one or a late one that day. I don't want
it to be an early one.
It could be the Sunday.
I'm hoping it's the Sunday.
I'd imagine that. Depending on what other fixtures are on that game week. Again, if it is the potential one where Liverpool might be either close to winning the league, maybe win the league. It depends on how Liverpool do, how Arsenal do, whatever. But they're not. They're giving those kind of games prime spots.
Is it one of these things where, like you do to me quite a lot, say, shut up your tit, but like what is the crack for that? Like if we are going to win the league at Anfield, like I've obviously got to go to this wedding, haven't I? Like it's
You got.
Is there any?
I was going to say you've got no leg to stand on there, lad. Sorry, but
is there any kind of
wiggle room for you?
Yeah. Well, is there any realm of like you don't know, you do both type thing? Do you reckon it's full on? Like,
Full day job. That.
Be fucking gutted if it's that Saturday.
Get Liverpool on the wireless.
It's just being with you and everyone. It's just you know what I mean.
I don't reckon it's going to be that early.
Do you not think?
No, I think there's still going to be twists and turns, whether that's in terms of us dropping points and Arsenal gaining points, whether it's, injuries, little dip in form where you're getting a point instead of 3. I can't see it being straightforward.
It's one for another day then, because I'll be fucking not happy if that's happening that day. My sister would be getting fucking it held against her for the rest of her life.
Pretty sure one of the lads is away for that game as well.
Really?
Yeah. So he'll be hoping that it's a little bit later as well.
I'm hoping it's not fucking Saturday 3 o'clock. So onto the weekend. Wolves, you'd like to think we bounce back, wouldn't you? Wolves aren't great, obviously, at the minute. I'm not there for it. I'm away at the weekend. Give me ticket away. But yeah, I just think it should be straightforward.
It should be, but they're sometimes the tricky ones, aren't they? Like, they've got their own battles that they're gonna be putting everything into their performance. They need to get themselves out of that relegation battle, don't they? And they'll think they're too good to go down, but the way that they're playing, they're not.
Yeah, true, but I do think though, listen, what do I know? But I think sometimes, I assume as a manager, you kind of pick your battles and you go, lads, we probably aren't going to win. Do you know what I mean? I think, listen, if they end up getting an early goal and they try and hold on, that's fair enough. But I think going into the game, I don't think they'll have much hope themselves. And I think us wanting to bounce back. I also think we've getting into that game in hand could be a bit of a blessing, because I think for a long time we've been thinking
that's a banker.
It's a banker. It's out the way now. We've got a point from it.
At least we know it's definitely a 7-point lead.
Listen, if anyone had said to you, middle of Feb, you're 7 points clear, fucking hell, you would rip their hand off, wouldn't you? So, yeah, happy days. Hopefully that bounce back against Wolves.
And I think the only game that they've won this year is the game against Villa. Which, again, that's a different game in terms of, derby game and all that kind of stuff. So, I don't reckon they've got enough, but I also don't want us to be going into that game thinking, oh yeah, it's against Wolves. We've just got to turn up. You want them to get...
No, of course.
To be fair, you want them to get the job done early enough that you can start taking players off, getting them ready for the Villa game, so that you can think about who your starting 11 is for the Villa game, because you've got that City game. Like, there's got to... You want to be managing games so that you don't need to be going full throttle up until the very last minute.
Yeah.
You want to be able to go, right, there's our safety net, let's take a couple of players off, wrap them up for the next game, and then we go again on Wednesday.
Especially the fact that it's 3 days later, isn't it, against Villa, which obviously a tougher game. Is it home or away? It's away, isn't it?
Away.
Yeah. Villa have been mad, haven't they? Started obviously great, didn't they, the season? They seem to...
They had like November and December, they just couldn't get a win. I think they had a couple of draws and they just kind of just plummeted. I don't know whether it was that thing of they were flying in the Champions League and they were putting a lot of time, effort, energy into that, and then the league form was suffering because they were up with us, weren't they, for the first few games of the Champions League season. But yeah, they just had that fall off around like November, December. They've been getting a little bit better on the form since the turn of the year, but they do leak goals. I don't think they've kept a clean sheet since like early December or something like that, or they might have kept one clean sheet since then. And they've got Mings potentially out, Konza's definitely out, I think, and Pau Torres might be out as well. So there's like some big players that should be keeping them a little bit more balanced and in line. So hopefully we just capitalise on the fact that they might have a few lads who are either playing out of position or not that experienced playing in those positions. And I think Matty Cash might be injured as well.
I think as well you've nailed it with getting kind of the job done early, because it's every 3 games now, isn't it? So obviously we've had Everton there last night, 3 days later it's Wolves, 3 days later it's Villa, 3 days later it's City, 3 days later it's Newcastle. So straight away you're looking at Wolves going, yeah, hopefully should get the job done, but straight away it's just like you said, those...
The annoying thing is Jones probably could have started against Wolves. I reckon that probably might have been the idea of let's rest one of...
So will that be a straight 3-game ban then, will it?
No, because I think it was just classed as a second yellow.
Oh, right, okay.
Pretty sure him and Doucoure were just 2 yellows. But I would have assumed that he would come in.
That was the plan, yeah.
So I don't know, do you put Elliott in there? But he hasn't been great when he started. But you can't be starting that midfield 3 every single one of those games. You need to have that rotation in there, and you don't want to be rotating it so much that you've got to take 2 out because one of them's injured and you still need to rest one.
No, of course, yeah. Yeah, so is that Wednesday? The 19th, is that Wednesday, yeah?
Yeah, so I reckon Salah probably starts every single one of those games. Him and Van Dijk might be the only 2, and Alisson that starts every single one of those games. I think in most other positions he'll try and rest some of those players at some point. He's just got to figure out,
pick and choose
where, and obviously look at the opposition and see where their danger men are and all that kind of stuff.
Is there an international break after the Newcastle game?
Yeah, so no, I think it's after the... Yeah, sorry, it is. Yeah.
Newcastle in the league.
So the last league game's the 8th, isn't it? Then there's the
but the one before the Southampton, so should we play Newcastle on the 26th of Feb? Then we don't play again until the 8th of March. I'm assuming there's an international break in between them two, the end of Feb.
I don't know, you know.
Must be. There's a 2-week gap there.
There isn't.
From the 26th of Feb till the 8th of March, what's that? It's 10 days.
Is one of them just not?
Nah, there's got to be.
I thought the international break was after the League Cup.
Nah.
Because after the League Cup, we don't play until April then.
That's 2 weeks away. Yeah, actually. Why don't we play then? I don't know. It's a few weeks away to think about it, but yeah. Next few games are massive anyway. Long and short of it. What's going on else around the league?
Well, if we're thinking about us, then we've got to think about the fact that we're playing City next weekend and they've got a massive midweek fixture because they couldn't hold on to a lead.
No.
On Tuesday.
On the obviously Madrid, the only reason we've been speaking about Madrid really with Trent, haven't we, kind of thing. What I'll say about that, I seen last weekend, I think Madrid played Atletico and Bellingham didn't play well apparently, and he's getting slagged, you know. He's getting slated, and obviously we don't watch Spanish football week in, week out, so I don't really know how he's getting on in that sense, but
he's had an indifferent season. He had a really good season last season, so that's where everyone puts him in terms of like, you should be playing like that every game. Like our mate Ricky used to live over there, used to go to most home games, and he said like, as a fan base, they're mad. Like if they're not winning, similar like what we were saying about City a couple of weeks ago when they were booing when they didn't win one of the games or whatever. If they're not winning near enough every single game and certain players aren't performing, then they will hang them out to dry, like sooner rather than later. And it only takes a bad patch for them to change their opinion massively. So you can have a bad patch even though you've had a great, 16, 18 months.
Yeah. And I think that's where he seemed to get a lot of, like he did at midweek, a lot of last-minute goal. He seemed to get a lot of big goals, didn't he? Which kind of made the headlines. But I think week in, week out, maybe he's not performing as he shouldn't, like you just said then. They're quite fickle. And it just makes me think of, obviously, Trent. And you think, like, is it, like, he's adored now? Absolutely adored. If he goes over to Spain, he's just this foreign lad who's fucking a bit shit at defending. Might score a great free kick, might give a worldly assist, but in general, he's a shit defender. Does he want that, like, that scrutiny every week in Madrid? Yeah, if I was him, I'd look at Bellingham and be a bit like...
It's whether he might even ask the question of Bellingham. Now, with Bellingham, he might just be like, well, I'll just tell you whatever you want to hear because I want my mate to come over and live with me.
Yeah.
But you don't... And you'd also wonder how much players actually care.
Actually give a fuck that we
if they're getting like 300 odd grand a week, do they bring that kind of thing home with them, or did you go, sounds, well... Whether you boo me or not, I'm still getting paid. So
maybe they're a bit like, when we put that reel up about Pep and everyone's calling me a scouse, bin dipping, robbing, murdering bastard. Did I give a fuck? Not really. Maybe Trent to be like, I don't give a fuck.
And he's getting 300 grand.
Yeah, I'm not getting 300 grand and getting called a scouse, bin dipping cunt. I'm just getting called a scouse, bin dipping cunt and not getting paid 300 grand. But yeah, City just haven't turned the corner at all yet. Beating 3-2, massive game for them. Are you worried about them in the league or anything?
Not necessarily worried about them in the league. I'm still worried about obviously playing them because they still are a good team when they're on the day. So it's more about the fixture that we've got against them next week rather than them for the rest of the season. It's just like, as we were saying the other week, that like inevitability of they're gonna secure that win, or they're gonna come back here or whatever. They've lost that air of invincibility now.
100%.
So I know they were playing against Madrid, so we can't like turn our nose up at that. But you'd think that a Man City team should be able to hold on to a lead at home with Pep as their manager and all this kind of stuff. And it was just that last goal was just a soft goal to give away, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like that was their own doing that. Like, literally, there was a bit of confusion with the two players down the right, but you just got to keep the goal, either keep the ball away from your goal or try and knock it right the way back to your keeper and just run the clock down. Because all of the action was in the Real Madrid half at that point, and it was just the fact that it was that little bit of confusion, and then they're in. And then Vinicius just obviously tried to shoot, missed.
Do you think it was an assist, do you think? Or?
No, he's tried to wrap his foot around it, I reckon.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
Listen, Bellingham's, chanced on it, not going in. He's done well to follow it up, but yeah. I thought it was an assist.
I'd have to look at it again, but I thought he tried to kind of like open himself up and go top bins, and he just didn't get that wrap around it. But as you said, Bellingham was there. I think the only team I'm worried about is Arsenal, and Havertz. It came out this week that Havertz got injured during warm weather training
in Dubai. Yeah, go to Dubai to give the players a rest, and then your only striker gets injured to the end of the season. They have been unlucky, Arsenal, haven't they?
A hamstring injury in warm weather training is a bit of a mad one.
So, I seen a stat saying, not a stat, but like I seen a bit of information that you only really use your hamstring when you're sprinting. Like it's pretty much... You've
got to be exerting yourself, maybe.
Yeah,
or overextending as well, isn't it? Like,
yeah, so you're not really using your hamstring as much. It's only when you're really sprinting going for it. So, yeah. Listen, I'm made up, by the way, that the losing players left, right and centre, but with the Saka injury and now this, they have been unlucky, haven't they?
Well, it's like the other season when we just seem to have injury after injury and stuff. It comes in peaks and troughs, doesn't it? Like, at that point, we were going, well, these aren't getting all these injuries. And now Arsenal fans are now saying, have you seen Liverpool? They're not getting any, like...
And at what point you go to the manager, you should have got a striker.
Or at one point you have to look at the kind of the coaching that goes on as well. I always think when teams are like really struggling injury wise, it's like what's happening in training, and is that and like obviously we've just mentioned about Slot's team not being as intense as Klopp's team.
Yeah, well, remember when Klopp first come in and they just all got injured, didn't they? Because he was adapting to his new style. Yeah, like you say, horses for courses. I think it comes in, like you say, swings and roundabouts. Thankfully, we just need to take advantage of it.
Yeah, we've got to capitalise on the fact that they've lost players, because you don't win the league because the other teams have lost the players. You win the league because you win those games.
Yeah, they've got Leicester at the weekend, so you'd imagine 3 points for them.
It's got to be.
Yeah. With me bitter head on, I don't really look at Everton's results as much anymore, because I think they're safe, aren't they? Whereas I used to be like revelling in them, you know, getting further and further towards the drop. I'm not actually doing that anymore now. They're away to Palace. It's just I won't harp on about it too much, because I have said this before, but it just comes back to this whole idea of, if you're a Blue, I would say it would be more fun to get relegated and come back up than it would do to have a season like this. Everyone will argue and say...
I reckon you're going to find a lot of Everton fans going, mate, those lows were low. Just to get that high at the end, those lows are low.
Yeah. And
they probably got the same kind of high last night.
Yeah, maybe so, but I think that they've got a not in season now. What are they playing for?
They're playing to bid farewell to the old lady.
But here you go. It's the middle of February, right? There's March, April, May. There's 3 or 4 months left of football. What are Everton playing for?
I don't know, like, would you, just in life, would you not prefer to be secure?
No.
Than, you know, run yourself to the bones of your arse and then go, do you know what? I've just had a little life-saving injection of dough there to kind of pick you up.
Do you not know my life, lad? It's my life. It's peaks and troughs, lads. And listen, I get it's a personal preference, isn't it? You imagine in life, right? If I could offer you, I'm talking money-wise, job security, job satisfaction, your missus, your friends, your day-to-day life. If I can offer you every aspect of your life and I could say to you, it's a steady Eddie 5 out of 10 through it all, right? You're never ever going to be skint. You're never ever going to be loaded. You're never ever going to love your job. You're never ever going to hate your job. Your fucking missus isn't a worldie. She's not ugly. Everything is just a steady Eddie 5 out of 10, right? Through every aspect of your life. There'll be some people who go, I'll take that all day. Me personally, I would say, give me the 1s and 2s and give me the 9s and 10s. I want to be on the bones of my arse thinking, how the fuck am I going to get to the end of the week? And then the week later, I want to be like fucking...
But what if... So, that's not what it was like, though, for Everton over the last few years, though. It was like 1s and 2s for 75-80% of the time, just to get a couple of 8s, 9s, 10s for that little 20%. Okay. I couldn't be arsed with that 80% of shite.
Exactly. At the moment, like you've just said, it's been a lot of 1s and 2s, but their 9s and 10s have come from, you know, when they're all on County Road, they survived the last day of the season, they're doing pitch invasions, they've been their 9s and 10s. If I could say to you, I'll give you a 1 and 2, you get relegated, but your 9s and 10s are going to be every single week in the Championship, getting promoted, getting to a playoff final, you know, winning, finishing top of the league, getting promoted. That would accumulate a lot more 9s and 10s than this steady Eddie 5s all the way to the end of the season.
That's the short term stuff, though, isn't it? So, like, I know Gary Lineker said I much preferred the games when we were in the Championship last season. He's come out and said that because they're obviously struggling this season and all that kind of stuff. Who said that? Gary Lineker, about Leicester.
Oh, right, yeah.
But obviously they then came back up. So the thing that could happen if teams go down is further down the line, long term, they're losing a lot more dough. They might not come back up. All that I
suppose
kind of stuff.
There's bigger Evertonians who go, you're talking shikes. If we go down, we might not come back up and we lose money and we lose... I get all that. But if you could be hopeful and say we'd come back up and we'd be Everton again, that's where my argument comes from. Because it's like to the end of the season now, like, what are you playing for? It's fucking shite. Like, if I'm an Evertonian going the game, there's no jeopardy in it, is there? Like, there's nothing to play for. You aren't that shit, you're going to get relegated. You aren't going to get into Europe. What the fuck's the point?
I reckon some of them would just be happy to to go to the game and not have to worry until the middle of May.
Yeah. Listen, in life in general, my life's a bit like that. Give me the fucking 1s and 2s and give me the 9s and 10s, and as a fan, I'd want that. But anyway, Evertonians tell me I'm talking shite as usual. Anything else on the footy?
No.
Before we round off
That's
a couple of bits, the
Yeah.
only the only other bits I'll say is only because I feel like I have to every week now. Emma.
By the way, I was only taking the piss last week saying that you had notifications about Raducanu, and you proved to me the other day that you actually fucking do.
Yeah, not to take the piss out of it. I like,
just to keep proving yourself right.
But a little bit of that, yeah. But I also like, I've got like big Novak, like favorited. I've got any sporting people who I like. Everton, I've turned them off because they're not going to get relegated. No, anyone I'm interested in, I keep a little notification on them on my phone. And Emma Raducanu, who's on her longest ever losing streak at the moment. She's got binned out of a few first rounders. She's having a terrible time.
I have seen that. People are saying, like, why is she still getting wild cards and stuff like that? And is it just because of the name and the profile rather than...
I hate to say I told you so, but you know what I will say?
You say you hate to say it, but you say it every week. So you fucking love to say I told you so.
What I was going to say is... I'm on a bit of an ego trip at the minute. We've joked about this. I've said, not just me, by the way, you've said sometimes Gary has. We've said things on this pod really early, and then things have happened, and then they get picked up on maybe bigger podcasts and more mainstream news. And I'm sitting there going, we fucking said this weeks ago. That does happen a few times.
Just sport, mate, yeah?
No, we've picked up on things.
What do you reckon? You've got like media moles just looking at?
Maybe some bigger podcasts.
My Instagram reels that I'm posting.
I was watching, yeah. I swear. We're just a little legged podcast doing little...
Do you know what? The funny one the other week was the Gareth Southgate one. That was said on the podcast, and then it did come out on another podcast. But
I rest my case.
But are you the only... Like, I know that you came up with that in your head, but as other people come up with that in their own heads?
No, it's all me. No, it's all me.
You're the inventor.
I'm the inventor of it. So I've been banging the Emma Raducanu shite drum for fucking years, and now finally people are actually saying, yeah, she's actually a bit shite. And now she's getting brought into why is she even able to compete. Is it because of her name? Is it because of her brand? Is it because of this? Is it because of that? And I think the real proper tennis fans are kind of going, this is a joke. She plays shit tennis. She shouldn't be getting a wild card entry, and it's not fair on other players. So I think, unfortunately, she's getting found out a bit. It took its time, but she's getting found out.
Keep those notifications on, though.
There you go. Last thing to round off on, I'm actually going to boxing on Saturday. Jazz is fighting, isn't he?
Yeah.
In the co-op. Big Fight Cattle is the main.
I was meant to be going, but Joe got injured 2 weeks ago.
Oh, really? I didn't know Joe was on it.
Joe was meant to be fighting on it, yeah.
Oh.
But I think he's done something to his back, I think. But yeah, so he had to pull out about 2.5 weeks ago, which is a bit of a shame for him. Just got on the recovery,
But
it's a stacked card.
Yeah.
I think one of the good fights to look out for will be Pat McCormack against Robbie Davis. I reckon that will be a great fight.
Is he fine, is he?
Yeah.
Fucking hell, I'll have to give him a little shout. I didn't, my mate's going, offered me a ticket, but I've not really, I've just seen Jazz was fighting, that was it. I've seen Paddy's fights close to getting announced.
Yeah.
Paddy looks to be fighting in, I think it's March or April, it might be, in Miami, I think. So look out for the news on that this week. And then the other thing, I'm going to Amsterdam on Sunday.
Oh yeah, to see your mate.
To see our mate. He's, I think he's boxing me. I spoke to him again. He's definitely sold me a ticket. So I will let you know how that goes as well. What day is the day? Yeah, it's this Sunday I'm going. Yeah.
Stacked.
So what?
Stacked social life, mate.
Yeah. Just a little 2 days in the dam. Back on the edibles legally. From Thailand to the dam.
Wrote Big Hendo in.
Yeah, imagine that.
Knock back a few eddies.
I hopefully I get to have a coffee with him, and he doesn't just show me a ticket for the game, which obviously I'm grateful if he does that, but it'd be nice to have a coffee with him as well and actually find out how much that Saudi money paid. Imagine that. How much were you on, George? Come on, tell me. How much did you get paid?
Did he end up getting paid in the end, though? Or is it still like set aside for whatever?
Yeah.
Because they need to defer it for 6 months or something, but then I'd already left by the time that 6 months was up.
He's obviously got paid and he's not done it for nothing.
No, but I mean, like, I don't know whether he's actually been able to access that money yet.
I'll be honest, I'm not going to ask him about his financial details if I see him. But hopefully it'll be just nice to see him and fingers crossed.
Have a good one then, lad.
Yeah, I will. Thanks again, Musk, and my apologies again for being late.
No worries.
Nice one, everyone, for listening. Thanks for all the nice comments on the show. Nice to see everyone's enjoying it. It's become a bit of a staple, as it has been for a while, but I always get a few nice messages on a Friday morning, people saying it's the little kind of ritual on Friday morning, whether it's going to work or in work, listening and stuff like that. A lot of lads I know are on the tools and stuff like that, listening when they're working, and obviously they're always saying nice things about us, so yeah, nice one for that. The sport, it's boss to see that people are, it's a bit of a thing in the diary, so thank you very much.
And then based on that, stats for 2025, Andy Grant, 3 episodes, Gary Judge, 2 episodes, Producer Musk, 4.
It's your podcast, lad. It's your podcast.
Might just start doing it on my own.
We're a team, lad. We're a team. Musk's flying the flag while me and Gary are off gallivanting. Yeah. Go on, you round it off, lad. You finish it off.
Nice one for the Feathers to allow us to host once again. So just a little reminder, we've got Steph Hodge on tonight, and then tomorrow we've got Tom Cartledge, as well as all the footy on the tellies as well. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.